More than 80% of people living with motor neurone disease will develop slurred, quiet or complete loss of speech over their lifetime.
Now, in recent years, technology has allowed patients to record and preserve their voices. It's a method known as banking their voices. And now new software has simplified that process thanks to the help of a very special book. Just have a look.
OK, so you're ready for this? It took about 20 minutes. That's all I had to do. Here's my first sentence I'm going to give to you.
I just banked my voice by reading the book. I will always be me.
It sounds so much like you. I thought it was you talking. It's one of those voices that you won't ever forget. It's your mum's voice.
You ready?
Wow, that voice is sexy.
On my days.
That sounded more like you, actually.
This is my digital voice.
Well, I can hear me in there. It's nice, it is me.
This is going to be Yvonne's voice, as opposed to that robotic voice. You can still be a mother, you can still be a wife. It's Yvonne.
That book would be an amazing legacy. Just means leaving something everlasting.
Her illness won't define her. That won't define her. She'll define herself. We'll know until the last breath that that's her.
I will always be me. It's so true.
Well, let's speak now to Diana Marsden, who was on the trial for the new technology, and to Stuart Moss, who helped develop the software in honour of his father, who died from MND in 2014. Good morning, Diana. Can we start with you? How important is it to feel like you can still be heard as yourself despite this illness?
My voice is my identity. It's who I am. People will hear me and know it's me. So it's really important. It's capturing my voice.
And as things stand, have you noticed a change in your voice, and how does it make you feel about what comes next when it comes to losing, as you say, that key part of your identity?
Yes, I am gradually losing my ability to speak clearly. It's a slow progression. Once I'd had the diagnosis, I knew that I needed to bank my voice quickly while I still could.
And you've made other attempts to bank your voice and then tried with this new technique. Talk to me about the differences.
Yes, I've tried a few other methods, mostly a solitary experience of reading several meaningless phrases. I believe one of my colleagues in the video had used those words. I couldn't have put it better. It was really very distressing, and I put a lot of effort into producing those phrases, reading them out, recording them. Very time-consuming.
So a time-consuming and lonely, laborious process. Let's turn to Stuart, who's helped devise this new way of people banking their voices. Stuart, just explain how your process changes things for people like Diana.
Well, good morning. The thing is, we changed it to try and make it simpler. We didn't want voice banking to be any barriers to doing it. So it used to take literally weeks to be able to voice bank, and you can do it now in about 20 minutes. And the whole idea behind this was to make it free as well, so everybody can get hold of this technology. It should be for everyone, not just for the select few. But the most important thing I think that was highlighted was we changed the actual approach. The way you do it now is with a family member or someone close to you. You used to do it in a room on your own, which is not a very nice experience.
And you don't have to record thousands of different words and phrases anymore. Just explain how a simple, short story is changing lives.
Yeah, so the original technology relied on you reading something like 1,600 sentences. There were things like red lorry, yellow lorry, and the cow jumped over the moon, and sort of meaningless sentences like that to capture all the sounds. we thought it would be nicer if we wrote a book that actually allowed you to talk through your feelings, and it meant something to the people in the room. It just so happens that there's enough sounds in that book to actually capture your voice in the way we need to do it with the technology. So it's a much more meaningful experience to the people involved.
I was just going to say, I would imagine it's really important to be able to express your emotion, and I would imagine for you, this development in technology is bittersweet because it's too late for your dad. Just tell us about him.
So my dad passed away from motor neuron disease on Christmas Day in 2014. And this sort of technology, it actually kind of existed then, but it was well out of reach of most people. And his job, he was a social worker, so his tool of his trade was being able to speak to people. So, yeah, being able to make this available to everybody, so this goes live today across the UK for free to anybody with motor neuron disease, is something I'm very proud of, that all the people that are behind the scenes that have put this together, there's an army of people in various technology companies that have allowed this to happen.
We're just looking at some lovely pictures then of you with your dad, and he looks like a lovely guy. And I'm sure he'll be very proud today that you, on his behalf, have come up with this technology. Diana, let me talk to you. I mean, I think it's really nice that this idea that it's a real story that you record to save your voice, because I guess that's something that then exists in its own right as well. It's not just that the phrases are taken out and banked, it's that whole piece of work, that memory also survives.
That's right. We're going to record my actual voice, which can then be passed on to friends, family, so they can hear my story when I can't actually tell it anymore.
Diana, just tell everybody what the last line of the book is and how important it will be to have that banked.
Oh, I can't even remember, but it's...
Go on, Stuart, you can remember.
I will always love you. It's the most important thing anybody wants to say.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much, both of you, for talking to us this morning and for sharing this, because I think it really explains to us the significance of why this matters so much. So we wish you well, Diana. Thank you so much, and well done, Stuart, with the technology. Thanks so much.
Some lovely pictures with his dad.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, for more on the impact of this new voice banking technology, we're joined in the studio by Richard Cave, a speech therapist with the MND Association. Good morning to you. We heard it there from Diana.
Yeah.
How big a loss it is when people with MND lose their voice, literally lose that part of their identity.
Well, first of all, I'm so grateful to Diana and all the other people living with MND who actually helped us through this project for the MND Association. Voice loss is a huge impact. Voice is such a strong part of our identity, and it reflects who we are, how we feel, our mood, our humour, our social and geographical background, all of these things, in addition to the words in which we have to say. So when voice changes, voice loss, this is a very big deal. So this project, one of the aims of this project is to help people to bank their voice quickly, conveniently, just get it done. And as Stuart said, in a matter of 20 minutes or half an hour, just to get it done, get it banked, and then go and live your life and just do this stuff. And if you never need to use it, that's fine. If you want to use it, that's absolutely fine as well. But there's more to this book. It's more than voice preservation. It is an opportunity to really talk about MND, and the words were written kind of very carefully to talk about MND, not in a medical way so much, but a way about how people feel and actually how things are. And the theme of the book is about although things may be changing on the outside, on the inside I'm still me, and by the way, I still love you. And this is very powerful. And people living with MND, they often talk about how when they read the book with their family or their loved ones, it creates an opportunity to talk about things that may not have been shared before. to talk about how they can support each other, how they can be there for each other, how they can stay together, and how worry less about saying the wrong thing or being a burden, and just be there for each other and know that they care for each other.
It's really interesting you say that. So on a medical, technical basis, this is helping people massively.
Yes.
But on an emotional, social way, it's also a huge benefit, because is it 80% of people with MND will lose their voice function. So this affects the large majority of people with the illness.
I am afraid so.
Yeah.
That is the case. So it also helps other people, because one person with MND said they want to share the book with all their carers, so that their carers kind of understand more about her as an individual, as opposed to an individual that lives with MND. And so, kind of this is an opportunity to educate and empower everyone. And this project started out as voice banking, but actually it's far more than that.
And some of those conversations that families want to have can perhaps feel a bit difficult to start, and this book gives them the space and the opportunity to do that.
It is written in a very accessible way that I think works with kind of young and old, so we can have a conversation about what really matters, and just kind of help keep people together. One of the big problems we have with MND is people just don't know quite what to do as things change, and people just fall away, not because they want to, not because they mean to. It just happens. And this is like one of the few projects I've ever come across as a speech therapist and working for the MND Association where we tackle exactly that, where we try and keep people together in a very positive way.
It sounds like it takes a lot of the stress out of it for people, that that they know that it's done and done quickly. It's not something they have to worry about in the future. It really helps them.
And it's also like a kind of it gives a legacy for the future. So while people still have their voice, they can record this book, this ebook about how they feel and actually how they are, and they can give it to anybody they like. And before they lose the voice, that is the gift of voice, and that people can keep that ebook forever.
And it's free.
It's completely free. It's completely free for people with MND.
Richard, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about it this morning. I know
it's so beautiful that it ends with "I will always love you," because people can have that to treasure then, can't they, forever?
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much.